Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. So glad you're joining me today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad my friends show up in the chat. Hey, if you've been a longtime viewer but never been part of our friend circle, come on over to Rumble and join our chat. We are here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Rumble, or Tuesday, Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern right here on Rumble. We would love to welcome you and say hello to you today. My special guest is Jared Knott. He's a historian and an author of Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, Book 2, The Many Tiny Mistakes That Changed the World Forever. And we're going to get into a little bit of that today, some of the mistakes that changed the world forever. And I have a feeling that we're going to talk a little bit about the Hamas deal and what does this mean in the grand scheme of things, because there was, I don't know if you know this, but there was an airport takeover of Hamas messaging in like 4 different airports across the nation. So we're going to get into a little bit of that today. I also want to focus on the mind manipulation as well. And so I have a whole segment that's dealing with the mind manipulation, the tools and tactics that they use for mind manipulation in this show as well. And just John Fetterman said some things that is very welcoming. I am so happy now. At first, I was really like, really, this is the guy you want for senator? But are they going to come for him? We're going to talk about that on this episode. So like, share, subscribe. If you like the show, repost. I'd really appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe. And if you like the show, please repost it. And hey, I want to thank God Signpost Tuesday, Thursday, especially. Go to God Signpost right here on Rumble. Go to God Signpost first. I mean, go to him every day, but specifically Tuesday and Thursday. Go to him and then go to Handy News. And then come right into the Amber May Show. I'd love to welcome you. And I want to thank Handy News because he raids into our program on Thursdays. And then we get to raid into the the Nun Report Tuesday and Thursday. He raids into us Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I love it. I just love this Rumble family we've created. And we couldn't have done it without you, viewers like you. So welcome to the show. Hey, I always add more content. Join me on Telegram at The Amber May Show. I'm on True Social, Amber May, Frank Social, Amber May, pickaxe.com. Find me there. And my Discord link is in the my Discord server is in the link below. So check out below. Hey, my premium days have shifted to Tuesday. And we had a great premium show this week. And I don't want you to miss any episodes. So right there below, you can become a Rumble Premium subscriber for $10 a month. That way you have access to everybody's premium content right here on Rumble. And if that's just too much money, right here in the Rumble chat, you can subscribe to this episode for $5 a month. I want to welcome some of my media partners today. We are broadcasting on GLP-1 Radio, which is really cool. I'm on the Faith and Freedom Network. Tomorrow we will be broadcasting on UG Media. So I want to just thank my media partners for partnering with me. Who else do I have? I have UG Media, Faith and Freedom, GLP-1 Radio.
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Mike Vera Radio Network. That's MikeVera.com, VARA. And then we're on Live 365 at Express Radio Station. So if you go to live365.com, look for Express Radio Station. We're over there too. So I want to thank all my media partners for partnering with the show and helping me have more reach. So thank you for that. All right. Well, let's get the show on the road. I have so much to talk about. I've got a guest coming on. I don't know that we're going to get through all my content today, but I hope we have fun along the way.
On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed, she won't back down, she's lighting the way, a beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land.
It's always good to see you guys. And unfortunately, I pushed the wrong button and you guys saw that. But that's all right. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Handy News, for rating in. Actually, I need to get a hold of you, Handy. if you don't mind, email me at theambermayshow.com. I'd love to have you on the show on a Thursday, probably in November. I think it'd be fun if we did a show together. So email me, Handy News, your contact info. Go to theambermayshow.com and email me, and then we'll schedule that because I think it'd be really fun to have you. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm excited. We're broadcasting on mastiff.media, which is Yerkes Radio. We're broadcasting there today live. Thank you guys for being here. Salty, Nightwolf, God Signpost. You guys are the best. TLW Berg. Thank you guys so much for being here. It just means a lot. Casa Rumble, every time you show up, means a lot to me. It's Snarl. Good to see you. We missed you yesterday. I missed you saying welcome, you sons of you know what. I missed seeing you yesterday. So hopefully you're doing okay. Thank you for being here. Mini Ball, good to see you guys. I love our chat circle. I love our friend circle. If I could take a minute to brag on my kids, I'd love to do that. I'm so proud of them. My daughter does sports 4 days a week. My son does sports 2 days a week. And my daughter made principal's list. My son made honor roll. And not only did he make honor roll, but he also got the citizenship award. Let me tell you about this letter that I had no idea he sent to his teacher. My husband knew, but I guess he didn't really think much to tell me because my son's just this kind of person. When we were at the volleyball game this week, there was one of the grandmothers from one of our players said to me, she's like, your son is just such a sweet boy, and just bragged about him because when her granddaughter wasn't feeling very good after one of the previous games, I think the heat just got to her a little bit. He was just like trying to help her and provide advice to the parents, but he cared and he showed that he cared, and it was so sweet. So this is the note my husband helped him work on one day before school. I probably was getting my hair and makeup done because you know how it is for men. They shave, they get ready, they shave, and that's it. Like there's not really this routine. And my husband wears a uniform, so figuring out what he's going to wear every day is super easy. But me, I'm like, what am I going to wear today? And then I got the hair, and I got to get the makeup. So I think while all that was going on, this is what he wrote his teacher. I'm sorry for your loss. I know it was hard to lose a pet, but he has gone to a better place with no more pain. And the only reason why I know my husband knew he was working on this because he kept saying, Dad, how do you spell? He's in 3rd grade. I know you love him and he loves you, and take as much time as you need. If you want, you can go home and have a substitute teacher because it's hard to lose a pet. But wants to be with you. I know he wants to be with you and he loves you, and so do I. This is the kind of son that I have. I'm just so pleased that I have such a kid that has such a huge heart for people. And I hope that never dies in him. I hope he always has such a golden heart like that. So I had to take a few minutes because yesterday was a big day in our household. We had 2 award winners. And I'm proud because that they keep a busy schedule. Our family schedule is crazy busy. Like yesterday, I did the show, I cooked dinner, we had church, we have sports, I have legislative district meetings, my husband has school board meetings. I mean, I don't think there's a day where we're like, oh, I mean, at least not right now. I think after the sports season, but there's always a sport my daughter is in, and my son can't participate till he's in 5th grade. So that's why we find like extra sports things for him. And on Saturday, he has his first football game. Then he's going to have a recital. So who knows what's going to show up on Tuesday and Premium Day, Life Behind the Mic, Amber May in Real Life. I don't know what's going to be on there. So you'll have to tune in Tuesday to find out. And then we have a retirement party after that. So just busy. And then on Sunday, we're packing shoe boxes. I don't know if any of you guys participate in the Franklin Graham shoebox thing where like you pack stuff to fit inside of a shoebox, and it's a Christmas gift for kids all around the world, especially poor and impoverished. And it's a way, and we just, and Franklin Graham distributes to churches as a way to introduce Christ to others. Yeah. So we have a packing party on Sunday. So life is good. Life is busy, but we're always on the run. And I don't know if any of you guys know, some of you must have seen the show. I talked about when my husband is Batman. My husband, I am married to Batman. So you guys can all be happy to know I'm a celebrity wife. I'm married to Batman. And so he sent me this, and I loved it so much because this is so true. The most important thing in life is to be yourself. Unless you can be Batman, then always be Batman. And I always tell them, be Batman. And if you don't know what that show is, you could go back to my Rumble channel and I discuss why I am married to Batman. So you guys are very fortunate. Let me get a round of applause because you guys are so lucky to know Batman's wife. Oh, enough with the shenanigans. No, enough with the shenanigans. I want to talk about something that's real. And this report came out a few months ago, but just because it came out a few months ago doesn't mean it's not still happening. Anytime I get an opportunity to share with parents about ways to protect their kids online, I want to do that. And so in an ABC News exclusive, Pierre Thomas reports on the urgent FBI warning about a dangerous online group called 764. I don't know if you've been hearing about that at all. And it's not like this is a new thing. This has been going around for a while, and there's different groups out there and they call themselves different things. But I think the more, because, all of us in this chat grew up in a generation where there was like hardly any tech. The most tech you had was your VCR flashing midnight. We had our wall phones. We had, the phones attached to the wall. We had a television with, and maybe let's say microwave. Okay. We had the VCR and we had the microwave, and that was big tech for us. So for us to raise kids in this world that's nothing but big tech, if I can do anything to help parents protect their kids, I want to, because when you hear law enforcement interview parents, all the parents say, I never thought it would be my kid. I never thought it'd be my kid. So here we go. I'm going to share this story with you just to keep mindful of it.
An urgent FBI warning about a dangerous online network called 764, allegedly targeting American children and teenagers on social media and what they're doing. ABC News joining forces with our owned and affiliate stations across the country and what every parent needs to know tonight. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, the Justice Department says the armed man in this video is tied to a disturbing and growing threat, a shadowy network called 764, whose goal is to spark violence and chaos around the world, in part by luring in unsuspecting teenagers. Authorities say 764 is behind a string of chilling threats in Vernon, Connecticut.
Hello? I have placed 2 explosives inside of Rockville High School, okay? And if they fail to detonate, I'm just going to shoot every kid I see, okay?
The call was a hoax coming from overseas, but with help from a teenage girl living right in town.
He was doing these threats with her knowledge and with some of her input.
764 targets kids on social media and gaming platforms, extorting them into sending violent and sexual content.
They will encourage them sometimes to commit suicide. They will encourage them to do cutting. They will encourage them to harm their pets.
They're using basically psychological warfare on children.
That's right. They gain the trust, and then they continue to build that trust to the point where they have power and the ability to blackmail the child, basically.
The suspect in the fake bomb threat convinced that teen he was her boyfriend. Soon she was sharing pornographic pictures of herself and was fully indoctrinated, defacing a Barbie with those numbers 764.
Before it started, she was a child who was on the honor roll. She had a lot of friends, and then slowly that started to change.
ABC News agreed to alter the faces and voices of the girl's parents.
I wanted to scream, not my child.
David, the FBI is warning parents to pay attention to who their kids are talking to on social media and gaming platforms. Tonight, the FBI is investigating more than 250 suspects tied to 764, with every field office involved. David?
Incredible reporting, Pierre.
So it is super, super critical of all of us parents because, I've talked about this multiple times. It's by design that they have removed moms from the home. By design, it's working is no longer a choice for many moms. I just happen to be one of those very fortunate people that can do that, that can make that choice. But so many out there by design, they wanted to remove the moms from the home. So kids have to go home, like lock key kids, like kind of we started in our generation, the lock key kids. But our generation, the worst we had was TV. Okay. And if you had cable, then I guess parents had to watch what kind of cable shows you were watching back then. But nowadays, like, what are the kids going to do? They can't go play outside because nobody's watching them. So they get on their devices. So it's just so important to like kind of check who they're talking to, get on their phone. Don't think that, oh, I have to, my kid's privacy. No, your kid's life is on the line. Who cares about privacy? You pay for that phone anyways. They're your child. So I don't know, anything I can do to help protect kids. That's my mission. John Fetterman is seeming to be like surprising. Like I actually am glad he's a senator. At first I was really worried about him because of his mental acuity at the time, going through strokes, but I really appreciate him. He's kind of like the middle of the road. If we had other people like him on the Democrat side, we could have this open dialogue and we could probably agree more than we disagree. And today on this episode, I'm going to try and hit on media manipulation. I try to do that as much as possible. Why? Because I was a trained journalist. I went to journalism school. I was in mainstream media. I could see when they write certain things, what they're trying to do, what is their intention in how they write, or when you hear a broadcast message, what's the intention? And I really think with everything going on with the doxing of the ICE agents, with the National Guard going into different places where there's a lot of crime, I think that there would have been less people being upset if they weren't being manipulated everywhere they go. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at techniques that they use, because at the end of the day, when people are used to living one specific way, and just like their neighborhood is one specific way, and they don't really go outside that area. For instance, one of my massage therapists, he grew up in New York, right? And that's all he knew. He didn't travel outside New York, the boroughs. He didn't travel. He then joined the Air Force, and it opened up his whole entire world to see things differently, that things aren't just like his neighborhood, right? And it made him want to travel and venture and go outside. And I say that to say this: when there is a lot of crime-infested cities and the elected officials haven't done anything to stop the crime, and then all of a sudden crime is lowering in your city, you finally see something different that you didn't see before, and you didn't realize how bad things were. And I had a video played yesterday on my show. If you didn't catch that video, please go do that. And it just shows about this woman. I can't remember what city, maybe it was Portland, maybe it was Chicago, I can't remember what city, maybe LA. And once they went in there and cleaned up the city, and it was a whole life-changing thing for her. And so if we just had conversations like that, I think our world would be different. And so going back to Fetterman, sorry, I kind of went on this long tangent. Going back to Fetterman, I appreciate what he was saying, because we have been called on our side fascists, Nazis, Hitler, and we're nothing like that on our side. But people have been programmed through social media, through the mainstream media, that we are fascists, we are Nazis, we hate America, we want to destroy freedom. And it's not even like that. And here you have this senator. And so I'll let him say his own piece in this whole thing.
I'm the only Democrat in my family. I grew up in a conservative part of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I know and I love people that voted for President Trump. But they are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution, those things. And that's part of another thing. I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists, or I would never compare anybody to Hitler and those things. And now that kinds of extreme rhetoric is going to continue. We're going to be more likely in resulting in extreme kind of outcomes and political violence and doing all these kinds of things like Charlie Kirk. For me, all I could say is like, let people grieve.
Yeah.
Give people the space. I'm not going to use that terrible thing and that Pasek assassination to make my argument and try to put out my views. It's like, my God, he's a father that had his neck blown out by a bullet. And now people have forgotten. President Trump in my state, was shot in the head. And if that could you imagine where our nation would be if he was hit in the same way with Kirk? We really got to turn the temperature down. And we can agree to disagree on these kinds of things. But right now, shutting down the government, I just can't take it that.
And to be honest with you guys, I don't know how you guys feel, but I get nervous kind of wearing patriotic clothing because so many people have been brainwashed into thinking I'm a Nazi fascist dictator that wants to take all their rights away. And that's so far from the truth because I want to fight for truth. I want to fight for freedom. I don't want to live in China. I interviewed guys on Tuesday who came from China. Their government took everything from them during the Cultural Revolution that took place 60 years ago and sent them to this very impoverished village in a small place that had no running water, no electricity, and no access to medical care. And then they had to go into these food lines and they would get 1 pound of meat for 30 days. This is where our country is going when you have people like Mandami taking over one of the largest cities in the United States. He is not for freedom. He is for controlling every aspect of your life. There is no way for an economy to grow and have freedom to grow. And there is no way in communist China for anyone to go outside of whatever the government allots them for a paycheck, because the government controls every single aspect of their life. And in communism, the rich stay rich and all of us stay super poor, eating 1 pound of meat a month. That's what you get in communism. Go, if you don't believe me, watch the show with the Chinese. Oh, but you have to be a premium member. Sorry about that, but it's important. And go find someone from China, someone from Cuba. They'll say the same thing. No one thrives under a communist government. Then Fetterman goes on to say, shunning the government is really what the Democrat Party wants to do. This man is so surprising to me. This is the kind of person that we can have a dialogue with and make progress with. That he's not going to call us a fascist Nazi dictator, and that he's willing to have the negotiation to open the government. But I worry about his safety because he's not towing the party line. So I worry about his safety. I worry about his next election. We need someone like this. This is like middle of the road kind of guy that we can make some common sense with. I do worry. I worry about what's going to happen next to Fetterman because he's deviating from the talking point severely. So here he is talking about opening the government.
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party. And it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down. I absolutely would love to have... I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for healthcare. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year. This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to expire. Now let's have a conversation to extend it and not shut our government down. That's why.
That is a common sense approach to me. But you know what? They do this in government and people on the Hill. They will make sure that things run out at a certain time for them to have talking points. It goes on both sides with this part, with the talking points and things expiring. But in this particular instance, this was the Democrat whole thing. They could have had these credits to last numerous amount of years, or they could have made it permanent, but they chose not to. And then this is their talking point. Oh, healthcare is going to go up, but we got to shut down government. Okay, and while you're shutting down government, prices of healthcare go up. Off the Press is reporting a fear of mine, and I wanted to share this with you about John Fetterman. Senator John Fetterman. Off the Press is reporting that the top Democrat of Pennsylvania are maneuvering to run against John Fetterman in a 2028 primary contest, threatening to tear the party apart in the biggest battleground state in the nation. Why it matters is Democrats haven't flipped a GOP Senate seat since Fetterman did in 2022. He's still popular with Pennsylvania voters, even as Democrats turn on him over his softened approach to President Trump. Potential Democratic challengers are already bashing Fetterman and each other years ahead of schedule. Some Democratic officials are contemplating running against Fetterman or keeping the door open to a Senate bid in the event he retires. Here's the big picture. Democrats who run against Fetterman include Representative Brendan Boyle and Chris DeLusso and a former Representative Connor Lamb, according to multiple political insiders in Pennsylvania. So they're coming for him. He's not towing the party line, so they're coming for him. He's actually the kind of person that I would want on Capitol Hill because I feel like there's dialogue there with him. And it's so refreshing to hear from him as a Democrat that I am not a fascist Nazi dictator because I like Donald Trump. Because I am not a fascist Nazi dictator. But here's Politico. You guys know on the show, I don't just give you right-wing news. I give you both sides of the news, left and right wing. Politico is saying that Capitol Police called to investigate a swastika in GOP congressional office. Now, isn't that nice? They hit a swastika in a flag. Just nice. So super nice. U.S. Capitol Police were called about an American flag altered to include a swastika and displayed inside an office of Representative David Taylor, a Republican in Ohio. Politico obtained an image taken during a virtual meeting that shows the flag pinned to what appears to be a cubicle wall behind Angelo Elia, one of the Taylor's staffers, along the flag with altered red wine lines in the shape of a swastika. Are pinned images, including a pocket constitution and a congressional calendar. It is unclear what role, if any, Elia had in the incident, but it did not immediately respond to requests for comment. I am aware of an image that appears to depict a violent and deeply inappropriate symbol near an office employee in my office, Taylor said in a statement. The content of that image does not reflect the values or standards of this office, my staff, or myself, and I condemn it in the strongest terms. Taylor said he immediately directed a thorough investigation along the Capitol Police, adding no further comment will be provided until it has been completed. The flag was found inside Taylor's office in a Cannon building in Washington, D.C., Tuesday afternoon. According to an office spokesperson, Taylor believes it is the result of foul play or vandalism, the spokesperson said. The revelation comes a day after Politico reported on an explosive Telegram chat group in which young Republican group leaders traded racial epithets, jokes about Holocaust, and praised Adolf Hitler. Elia has worked as legislative correspondent in Taylor's office since January, according to his LinkedIn. When reached for comment, the U.S. Capitol Police spokesperson said an automatic reply saying the office is closed due to shutdown and will reopen when federal government is funded. Ooh. Yeah, lots going on. A lot of rhetoric, a lot of hate being spewed. That's why I kind of appreciate someone like John Fetterman who's willing to meet us halfway. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to my historian. I can't wait. I mean, he sounds so fascinating. He wrote this book where he said like little things turn into big deals. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I can't wait to ask him some questions, pick at his brain a little bit. Historians are so fascinating. You learn so much by looking backwards in history. The Amber May Show. Hey guys, I've been working in the financial sector for a little while, and I used to work for a financial planner as a licensed life insurance agent. If you're serious about protecting your wealth, then I believe owning gold and silver and having that in your portfolio is key. It's time to stop trusting the same people who built the mess, and that's why I trust my gold guy. That's Ira Bergschatzky. He's not a middleman, he's the owner, and he's America first. And he's the real deal when it comes to physical gold and silver. Ira deals only in high-quality bullion, no overpriced coins, no high-pressure tactics, and no gimmicks. With one of the lowest minimums in the business and some of the most competitive rates anywhere, you'll get the real value without the globalist nonsense. And so if you're ready to make the switch and protect your wealth with owning some gold and silver, I highly recommend having some in your portfolio. I'm not a big proponent of turning your IRA into a gold IRA, but I definitely believe everyone should have some gold and silver in their portfolio. So if you're ready to do that, go to mygoldguide.com/Amber. That's mygoldguide.com/Amber and get some precious metal in your portfolio today.
I'm Abe Hamadeh, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Hey, so when you are a guest at the Amber May's house, you get luxury. And how you get luxury is I have this sleeping couch, the sleeper sofa, and you're telling me that's not luxury. It is when you put a MyPillow mattress topper on it. All my guests that have come over and stayed at my house have really enjoyed this sleeper sofa, which says a lot because they're getting to sleep on the MyPillow pillows, and you get the MyPillow mattress topper, and then it doesn't stop there with the luxury, because when you shower at the Amber May Show's house, you get to have a MyPillow towel. I don't have the kids using it. I just let the adults have the luxury. So the adults get to use the MyPillows, and they're phenomenal. And right now, there's a massive sale going on with the MyPillow towels. So you should really put luxury into your home and live it every day like Amber May does every day. So I have a MyPillow mattress topper on my bed. I use the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow towels, the MyPillow slippers. I live luxury, and I don't have to pay the luxury price because MyPillow has promo code. So use my name, Amber, and save up to 66% off, and you can live luxurious as well. And now we return to the show already in progress. Welcome back, folks, to the Amber May Show. So glad you're joining me today. And I just wanted to let you know about this. You've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get an ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. And right now, Rumble's offering $10 off an annual subscription. So just go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium. Use promo code STUDIO at checkout. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. And that's the deal. And that's why you're here at the Amber May Show, because you actually care about this content. So I want to thank you. Let's welcome my new guest, Jared Knott, to the program. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to talk to you, sir. You wrote this book. Here it is. Let me share it. I thought I had the wrong page. You wrote this book. It sounds very fascinating. Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, 39 Tiny Mistakes That Changed the World Forever. The link's in the description of the show. I hope you check it out, because as I was reading just excerpts of his book, I was just like, oh my gosh, I could see how little tiny things could change into a huge dynamic change in politics or whatever. So thank you for reading something like that. That's pretty incredible.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have a second book that's just come out just last week, Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters, Book 2. Okay, and it's just an extension, really, of the basic theme. And people ask me, where did the inspiration for that come from?
Yes.
It comes from the old adage that comes down from Benjamin Franklin, that if one of the nail, the shoe was lost, one of the shoe, the rider was lost, one of the rider, the battle was lost, one of the battle, the empire was lost, the empire was lost, all for the want of a nail. Well, that's a nice little thing. How often does that really happen? That a single tiny mistake causes an empire to collapse? You will be amazed how often it has happened over and over again.
Wow. That's interesting. I wanted to talk to you and get whatever you can share with me about the Hamas deal, especially because you have a great vantage point, since you've studied history so much. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to be able to maintain peace in Gaza?
Well, I think quite honestly, the threats of very decisive violence promised by President Trump recently, they better comply or else. The reason he's there, the reason Hamas is willing to negotiate and have come this far, not because of the goodness of the heart, of course, there is no goodness in their heart, not about any desire for peace or anything like that. They just had the tar totally beaten out of them by the Israelis. The Israeli Defense Forces just clobbered them one into the other, and they have told you have a choice. We can do this the easy way, we can do it the hard way, we can come to an agreement, we'll go in there and destroy whatever's left of it. So that's the only reason that they're there in the first place. And they are now shooting and executing their fellow Gaza residents, fellow Palestinians right there in Gaza for being collaborators or for whatever reason they want. They're nothing but a bunch of cutthroat thugs. And they're going to, I think that they will come into compliance because they're going to be forced to come into compliance. It's not going to be a voluntary thing on their parts, because they literally are going to have guns at their head do it or else. And all the Arab nations have pulled their support out from underneath them. So I think they're going to be forced into compliance, whether they like it or not.
Well, sometimes when you're dealing with thugs like that, that's the only language they understand is brute force. So, my husband's a deputy, and sometimes he says you have to use force in order to bring peace. I saw this article on New York Post. Maybe you can have some insight. I don't know, or an opinion about it. The New York Post is reporting that pro-Hamas hackers hijack airport loudspeaker across North America, spewed anti-Trump Netanyahu slurs and causing delays. So let's see if we can hear any of these.
Free Palestine. Islam. Netanyahu. Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam was here. Telegramtional Cyber Islam. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
This is incredible how they were able to hack something. Passengers at airports in Pennsylvania and British Columbia were stunned Tuesday when loudspeakers suddenly blasted pro-Hamas messages and slurs against President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Videos posted by travelers showed the unauthorized recordings echoing through terminals at Harrisburg International Airport in Pennsylvania, and then the Kelowna International Airport in Canada. Screens at Kelowna also flash messages praising Hamas and urging free Palestine. Here's an image that was taken. Let me show you this image. This is crazy. I just guess I never would have imagined seeing this at an airport, but this was at the airport in Canada. And then it said pro-Hamas airports in Pennsylvania, British Columbia were stunned Tuesday when loudspeakers suddenly blasted pro-Hamas messages. Airport authorities said the digital break-ins targeted both public address systems and flight information displays, a form of cyber vandalism that disrupted boarding and startling passengers but caused no flight safety issues. Do you have any thoughts on that? Have you ever seen that before?
No, it's in the category of, I use the word vandalism. It's a kind of a vandalism prank. It's from some people that are, have the same kind of people that are doing the demonstrations out there in the streets. This is just a different spillover from that kind of thing. It has no particular meaning. There are still people, in spite of the peace agreement, in spite of historic progress that has been made in giving freedom, trying to establish freedom for the people in Gaza. In spite of that, a huge success. There's still people who are anti-Israeli, anti-Trump, anti-Republican Party, whatever. And that's just love, a background noise that has no particular significance.
I guess from a historical perspective, are you for a two-state, what do they call them? Two-state, whatever, in Israel? Are you for that? I'll give you my background. My father's from Israel. He's a Nazarene, and so he's an Arab, but a Christian Arab, and he lived under Israeli government. Sometimes the Arabs are second-class citizens, but for the most part, it's been fine for my family. They survived, and did just fine. And it seemed like the dividing factor was like there was this war, and I don't know what year this war was, but it had something to do with a whole bunch of people got scared, and my great-grandfather was one of them. And he lived in Nazareth, raised his family in Nazareth, and he packed up all his family because of some kind of war going on. And I don't know the year, and I don't know what war it was. And he was going to drive to Lebanon and flee for whatever chaos was going on, even though he owned his own home, he had his own property, and he was going to flee to go to Lebanon. And as he was driving, his truck or his car kept stalling out. And the only way it turned back on is if he hit reverse. And he did that several times. And he kind of felt like God told him to go back home. And I'm glad he did, because eventually, because of where they were located up in northern Israel, where Nazareth is, they got Israeli citizenship in 1948, when Israel became a state. The people that were south of Jerusalem didn't end up getting that citizenship. I'm not sure exactly all the history in that region, and you would think that I should, since my family's there, but I will be honest with you, I don't know all the ins and outs of that. Is there anything you can share with us about this two-state, one-state? I'm for a one-state there, because I've seen what Israel has done, and it's very poor. I've been to West Bank. I've never been to Gaza. I've been to West Bank because Bethlehem's in West Bank. You want to go see where Jesus was born, that's in the West Bank. And there's a big discrepancy between Israel and Palestine. It's very poor. My family owns construction company, and they would hire people from Palestine. They would get these work permits to come across the border and work in Israel on the construction sites. So Israel has more money, more affluence. Palestine's pretty poor. Gaza is probably even worse. What I'm just curious from the story.
No, of course, if President Trump asked that same question, he said he would leave that for them to work it out in the negotiations. However, my impression is that if you had a two-state solution, that means you have one government governing Palestine or part of Palestine that's run by the Arabs. I think that is going to lend itself to being taken over very easily by extremists, and it's going to corrupt the government and turn it the wrong way very quickly. If you have a single government where Israel still has a major influence on decisions being made, I think that can be kept in the guardrails and heading in the right direction. It won't be so easily corrupted by extremists. So my first reaction is you can't trust a two-state solution. It's going to go south.
I'm hearing some kind of
feedback. Oh no!
Is it vacuuming? I don't know.
No, it's the man went along Thursday afternoon. He's mowed the lawn. He'll be gone in a few seconds. Anyway, so I definitely would go for a one-state solution and not a two-state solution, because it's going to go, it'll get corrupted and go south, and we'll have problems.
Okay. I'm for a one-state solution myself. I asked my cousins that actually grew up there. I never grew up there. I spent time over there, and I can't ask my dad these questions anymore because he's deceased. But my cousins that live there, they're for a one-state country, not this two-state. It's so sad. I've seen the progression over the years that I've gone back and forth. And there was a time when there was not a wall that separated Israel from Palestine. And the year I went back, it was before my daughter was born. I went back and I saw this wall, and it just broke my heart because it just separated the country. My one friend, she was born in Bethlehem, so she has the Palestinian passport. She can't enter into Israel like I can. She can't even fly into the Tel Aviv airport like I can. She has to, even though she's also a citizen of the U.S., she has to fly into Jordan and then drive across to get to Bethlehem. And so when I saw that wall, it just broke my heart. And so I want to have the Gaza Mar-a-Lago. That's my dream. And I feel like I had another historian that came on a while ago, and he said, if we were meant to always build up other nations, and when the globalists took over, it was a power struggle where they wanted to keep all the wealth, and they pick and chose the winners and losers in this world. And this one historian said, if we as Americans would have gone around and building up other nations, we wouldn't have had so much war, as it is today. And to simplify what he said, right? And so I kind of believe that to be true there. If we can build up the Gaza area, Palestine, bring money, bring influence there, it will be harder in my mind to see terrorism take over if there's money. When people are poor and they have no way to defend themselves, it's easy. Look at just South America alone. It tells me that what I'm thinking is probably on the right track, where the cartels have just taken over because all these nations are super poor.
Yes. Now, the basic formula that's worked so well in the United States and worked for Western Europe and Japan, South Korea, is a democracy that has free enterprise as its basic philosophy. And so people work hard. They can start their own business. And when someone's starting their own business, they'll work 16 hours a day. They'll do everything they can to make it work. The thing is, with socialism, it's an old saying that comes out of Poland, that whether you stand under socialism, whether you stand up or whether you sit down, you get paid the same wage. There's not an incentive to work hard and do well. So with the free enterprise, there was a big debate between between two major philosophers, and Phil Donahue and I think the other gentleman just a second. Anyway, talking about this very same subject, and he was saying that the conservative was saying that free enterprise unleashes very powerful forces that creates a great deal of wealth and pulls a nation forward. And where socialism tends to suppress incentives, free enterprise rewards incentives, and that's why it works so well. So you can't just say, well, okay, let's make them wealthy, or let's give them money or something like that. You give a man a fish, he's fed for one day. You teach him how to fish, he's fed for a lifetime. The incentive for them to have a lot of self-improvement and a lot of work to make themselves and their economy and their families and their whole community better. That, and they pull themselves forward. That's what works, and that's the model that the United States is built on, and what successful countries tend to follow the same model.
I feel like Donald Trump's on that board, on that way of trying to build up other nations. You know, our past presidents has said we have a war on drugs. That was all hyperbole. They didn't really care about taking drugs off the street. You see Donald Trump, and he's literally annihilating drug boats so that they don't come and kill the United States citizens. I mean, I have right here in Phoenix, I see them. They're like standing zombies. They fall asleep while they're standing up because they're so super high. California, I have a video to play about that in a little bit, about what this woman saw when she went back to LA, and she talks also about the drug thing. I am totally fine with him annihilating these cartel members who are bringing drugs, and I hope that is going to help lift and free countries like Venezuela from the oppression of all the drug cartels. I want to see like South America thriving. I want to see Mexico thriving. I mean, they say in Mexico that there's like the cartel political parties where there's most of them are controlled by the cartel. I would love to free Mexico. I want to see Mexico because there's so much oil in Mexico. There's so much beauty in Mexico, and it's my neighbor, right? I want to see my neighbor thrive. And I feel like Donald Trump's that kind of attitude where he wants to see people thrive. And for so long, we've had so many globalist presidents that were following whatever the leaders up at the World Economic Forum, the Council of Foreign Relations would say, and they'd pick their winners and losers. I just feel like it's different now.
There is the justice system in Mexico has just collapsed, and it's been collapsed for a long time, and the cartels have taken over. In Spanish, there's you tell people, do you want lead or do you want silver? But it was just kind of a little pun there in the Spanish language, and they just corrupted the entire country from top to bottom. So the border's wide open. They're working with the Chinese, would send the precursors to the fentanyl over to the cartels. They make pills. They send them across the border. We had, I think 2 or 3 years ago, it was 102,000 people died of overdoses in the United States. 102,000 people. Stunning. That's like a 747 going down every day. And it's down to maybe 50,000, I think, in the current numbers. Donald Trump has brought it down, but it still has a long way to go. But there's mostly young people and just doing horrible. Now, that's terrible by itself. But in addition to that, there are a lot of people who became addicted to drugs who have ruined lives. They might have been happy husbands, fathers, workers with good careers that are homeless in the street in San Francisco, drug addicted, defecating on the street with horribly ruined lives. So there's the cost of people actually dying of overdoses, the other cost of people who have their lives ruined because of their addiction. J.D. Vance, in his book, Hillbilly Elegy, his mother, of course, was in that category, and tens of thousands of other people are in that category of addiction and ruined lives. So the border being closed down, and all the leaders of the cartels who were arrested and taken to the United States for prison, they said to the Mexican government, either you fix the problem or we're going to come in and fix it for you. So they have taken steps towards cleaning the situation out. Not that it's completely clean, but they have brought it back in line. And of course, there's, you may have heard that there's special operations taking place in Venezuela right now. Special operations helicopters landing in Venezuela. And so there may be some operations there where they're going to try to, I don't know if it's going to be a little regime change or whether it's just going to be arresting certain cartel members, but he's pushing back very aggressively against the hoodlums and the drug dealers that control Venezuela and control Mexico.
And I forgot to mention, and I apologize to you, sir, but you are, and I want my audience to know who you are. You are not only a historian, but you're a decorated combat infantry officer in Vietnam. You were the 1st Air Cavalry Division. So thank you for your service. I know Vietnam was a really hard thing for young men to go through. My mother's husband is a Vietnam vet, and he still suffers from the things he had to do and see in Vietnam still to this day, so many years later. And so I just want to thank you for what you did. I think what you had to do was very hard. I can't imagine the things you've had to see and experience firsthand. So thank you for, trying to serve the United States. I appreciate you. And I'd love to talk about your book a little bit. I want you to give like some some ideas of what you talk about, examples of what you talk about. What are these tiny blunders? What are these big disasters that you're talking about?
Yes,
that we can find in your book.
Way back when, it's been over 11 years ago, when I first had the idea for this book. And my first idea, at the very, very beginning, the first seed of thought that spawned the entire book was, here's the teaser for it. A single piece of tape rotated several inches the wrong direction, changed the outcome of the Vietnam War. The United States might very well have won, except for the single tiny mistake, which doesn't make any sense. What in the world are we talking about? Single piece of tape has to do with the Watergate break-in, when James McCord and the Cuban operatives were jimmying the lock from the parking garage into the Watergate office complex. They were told to hold a striker on the door down with a single piece of tape in the vertical position. They made a mistake and they put it in a horizontal position. So when Frank Wells, the night watchman, came walking by at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, he sees tape on the door. What's this tape on the door? Oh, the door has been jimmied. He calls the Washington, D.C. police. And it's a strong rumor that the officer who was on duty that night, uniformed officer in that part of the city, was intoxicated in a local bar and could not answer the call. So they had to send the bomb patrol, 3 officers dressed as hobos in a jalopy car. So they pull up in front of the Watergate complex. They're not recognized as police officers by the lookout. They come in, they arrest James McCord, Cuban operatives, and Watergate begins. Boom, boom, boom. And then Henry Kissinger gave an interview on television. He said they had just signed a treaty with the North Vietnamese at the end of the Vietnam War. And he said they knew that the North Vietnamese were going to be violating the treaty, but the plan was to go in there and bomb the living daylights out of them again to get them back in compliance. They were so weak politically they couldn't. South Vietnam collapses, Nixon administration collapses, it all falls apart because of a single piece of tape rotated several inches the wrong direction and a drunk cop.
I don't know, Jared, if you'd be interested, but I interviewed a man named Jeff Shepard. Jeff Shepard was in the Nixon administration and one of the attorneys during Watergate as well. If you could always go back to my show at theambermayshow.com, and he uncovers a massive scandal where Richard Nixon had no idea what was going on, and these men were trying to take him down, and he has the receipts to prove it. So you might be interested in watching that episode from Jeff Shepard, and he has documentaries out there about Richard Nixon. But what are some other examples that we could say that a little thing caused a big deal?
Yes, in the second book, I talk about the Constantinople, the fall of Constantinople. This magnificent fortress. It was one of the most successful castles, fortresses in the history of Europe. It stood well over 1,000 years. And it ended up being kind of the last vestige, the last remnant of the Roman Empire. And at one point, it had 500,000 people in it, but the Black Plague was only 7,000 people there, and it was being attacked by the Ottoman Empire. Anyway, somebody forgot to close and lock a gate in the fortress wall, a very important gate in the fortress wall. They forget to lock it. The enemy sees it, finds that it's open, come pouring into the city, which is one of the things that led to the fall of the city. Now, Elon Musk sent out this playful tweet about 3 years ago, and it shows a soldier, a cartoon, shows a soldier in his bed with a blanket pulled up, his helmet on, and a little balloon showing his thoughts, and he's saying, "Did I remember to lock that gate last night?" Well, the answer is no, and it led to the fall, you could say, of the Roman Empire, the last vestige of the Roman Empire. Now, the Turks were kind of offended by the little cartoon. They thought they were a little bit sensitive about it, but what the heck? You got to have a sense of humor.
Well, it sounds like you have a sense of humor. So I bet I have a feeling that you probably added some sense of humor in your book too, probably.
Oh yeah, we got a few little cuties in the book. Yes, one of my favorite chapters there, by the way, is the chapter called "Wrong Way, Corrigan," and I won't spoil it for you, but it's absolutely hilarious. It's a comic relief book. It's the third chapter in the book, and it's about a man who claimed that he was flying to California, but he ended up flying across the Atlantic Ocean to Ireland instead.
Oh no!
Yes. And wherever he lands there in Dublin, and he gets out of the plane. He said the customs official run, and he says, "Where am I?" "So you're in Dublin, Ireland." "Oh, I was flying to California."
That sounds like Christopher Columbus, right? He thought he was going to go to India and ends up in North America.
Yes, in fact, that's a whole big thing. It's kind of a long story, but Christopher Columbus made a mathematical mistake on top of a mathematical mistake from somebody else, and he thought that the world was only 75% as big as it really was, and therefore we did a calculation. He was saying that, well, Japan and China is only about 2,300 miles west of the Canary Islands. Well, it's more like 10,000, 200 or 300 miles to the west. So it's way, way, way off. Plus, North America, South America, of course, were in the way. And the people, he went around to different monarchs in England and in France and Spain and so on and so forth, Portugal. And the experts there knew he was full of beans. And they would say, wait a minute, we have good reason to believe it was much, much bigger than that. But he was kind of being brushed off. But Ferdinand and Isabella took a liking to him, and they took a chance on him anyway. And by the way, the sailors on board the Peanut and the Santa Maria did not want to be there. They even sabotaged the rudder to kind of stop the whole ship from sailing and away from sailing. And they had to sail anyway. And they came over to the United States, and it was a magnificent breakthrough that came out of an accident. And you say, well, indeed, that's not a tiny blunder leading to a big disaster. Well, not so fast. It was a terrible, terrible disaster for the indigenous people in the Americas. And millions of them died from diseases that were brought over by the Europeans. Smallpox and measles and the others just decimated the population. 3 years after he landed there in the Caribbean, 90% of the population in the Bahamas were gone, primarily from disease, sometimes also from cruel treatment of being forced to work in the gold mines. But so it was a tiny blunder that led to a big disaster for the people of North and South America.
Yes, but out of all that bad, good came from it. And now we're living in a country that offers freedom and sanctuary to people all over the world. So God takes all the bad and he ends up turning it for good. Jared, where can people find your book?
Yes, go to Tiny Blunders, BigDisasters.com, Tiny Blunders, BigDisasters.com. And there's a bunch of fun things there at their website. We have a Elon Musk reel, Instagram reel. We also have a John Wayne Instagram reel and a Watergate Instagram reel. And we have a portrait gallery with 27 personalities in it with a little bit of dirt on each one. Okay. Fun place.
Jared, I like you. I'm glad I had you on my show today.
It's been an honor to be here. Really
You're wonderful. I have to have you back on. I love your personality. I love how you're quick-witted and you're funny. I love funny people. I just love to laugh. One of my favorite things. I love to laugh. Well, go ahead.
It was sometimes people laugh at me, but that's okay.
That happens to me too. So Tiny Blunders, BigDisasters.com.
Yes, that's exactly right.
If you don't mind, moderators, I didn't add that to my notes. Could you add that to my comment section? That'd be great. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jared, so much, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Amber.
Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, what are we going to talk about next? Because I have a lot. There's a lot. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the shutdown, a little bit about how that's affecting the National Guard troops. I definitely am going to get into, in this half of the show, what I originally wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the mind manipulation of the media. So I'm going to make sure before this hour is over that we get to that. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, that's what we're talking about. Hey folks, I want to tell you about something that I have been using in my own life, and those are called GLP-1s. Now, I didn't take it lightly. I did a lot of research. I looked into it, did a lot of reading. I talked to a lot of people that have been on GLP-1s for a very long time before I decided to try it for myself. And losing weight and improving your health doesn't have to feel impossible. Whether you've tried everything or you're just starting out, sometimes the right support makes all the difference. This episode is brought to you by LifeRx.md, one of the largest custom GLP-1 and peptide companies in the U.S. And LifeRx is helping thousands of people taking back control of their health with personalized peptides protocols, including GLP-1 starting at just $250 a month. There's no contract, no subscriptions, no hidden fees. And best of all, no insurance or waitlist required. With 24/7 customer support, LifeRx is accessible, affordable, and built for people who are ready to become the healthiest versions of themselves. So whether you're looking to lose weight, optimize performance, or simply feel better in your body, LifeRx makes it easy to get started. So visit the link below to get started with LifeRx and get started with your GLP-1s and get started today. So make sure you click the link below. The link is in the description. So you can get started on your weight loss journey for better health. What I found fascinating is that Fox News was reporting that weight loss drugs, the GLP-1s, are now linked to cancer prevention in women, a major study reveals. So that is very exciting. Like I said, I didn't take this lightly. I worked hard. I looked at all the literature that I could find out there. I talked to a lot of people, different positions, before I made the switch. And with this company, it's the first company that I found that was the most affordable out there, and they've had amazing customer service, and that is why I'm bringing them to you. So if you're ready to get started, click the link below and get started today with your GLP-1s.
Hey, this is Jeff Dornick, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Let me tell you a quick story that's important to you and your family's health. In 1963, the FDA banned a promising new discovery in the fight against cancer. Laetrile, also known as B17, was so popular among its consumers that some 70,000 plus Americans crossed into Mexico to smuggle it back into the United States, according to Newsweek. Laetrile was under constant attack by big pharma, big media, big government. Sounds familiar? Kind of like Ivermectin. And just like Ivermectin, Laetrile was both a solution and a problem. You see, Laetrile is naturally found in 1,200 plus foods, including apricot seeds. So Big Pharma can't make money off of it, and that's a big problem. In the 70s, Sloan Kettering, an American Cancer Research Institute, found Laetrile was successful at preventing cancer and stopping it from growing. That's according to numerous sources at Sloan Kettering and researchers for the movie Second Opinion. So what does this mean to you? Well, I'm going to give you a source for Laetrile. So to find out more, go to the rncstore.com, and when you're there, use promo code AmberMay at checkout. Hey guys, welcome back to the Amber May Show. So glad you're here with me. Oh, I just love having my friend circle here. It makes me feel good. I'm like, oh, I can do the show because I have support in the chat. So thank you. I wanted to tell you about this because I think coolers are very important. I almost played a funny clip, but I wish I would have thought about it now because of this commercial. All right, outdoor crew, if you're into fishing, camping, or getting off the grid, meet your new best friend, the Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler from Caddis Sports. This isn't your average cooler. It's molded for max durability, bear-proof, and 20% lighter than other brands, so it's easy to haul whether you're deep in the back country or just setting up at the dock. You'll get up to 3 days of ice retention thanks to thick, high-performance insulation. That means cold drinks, fresh food, fewer ice runs, whether you're chasing muttons offshore or posted up at a campsite. Best part, it's 40 to 50% off cheaper than other big-name coolers, but still built to perform season after season. And like all Caddis Sports name brand gear, it's proudly made right here in the USA. So use promo code RUMBLE at checkout for 10% off your order today. That's caddissports.com. Go grab your Hunter Orange 25-quart cooler and keep your next adventure ice cold. I saw this a comic bit, and I just didn't know if it was going to be funny enough, so I didn't bring it, but I should have brought it because it had to do with a husband and a wife, and a father was telling his son, like, because his son was asked about marriage advice. He's like, go with your third answer. And the son's like, huh? He's like, when your wife says something or does something, if you go with the first answer that comes to your mind, you're going to get divorced. If you go with your second answer that comes to mind, you're going to be on the couch. So you're good to go with your third answer. And so the woman and him, the husband and wife, were driving in a car on a road trip, and the wife packed a bunch of stuff in a cooler, and she was going to give food to her toddler, and she was so upset because everything melted. And he said, how did that happen? She's like, well, the cooler didn't keep everything cool. And he looked, and there was no ice in the cooler. And his first answer was going to be, well, you should have put ice in the cooler. But then he said, no, he wasn't going to do that. And then so he kept the second answer to himself. And the third answer, he's like, that cooler is broken. We need to get rid of it because it's not keeping things cool. So I didn't make it as funny as the comedian. I just wish I had that joke now that I read that ad. So, okay, back to the news. I love highlighting this because if you've gone to my website, theambermayshow.com, you look under the resource tab, I always highlight where there's been child sex trafficking and things like that, because I want to bring awareness to this, because nothing hurts my heart more than a child getting assaulted And I know the same for you guys. And so I just want, I haven't done it in a while. I haven't kept up with my database for the longest time. Every time I saw something, it was added to my database. I might add this to my database if I have time, but it says Just the News is reporting this. 4 wanted child sex offenders arrested by CBP officers in Laredo in 72 hours. I am so grateful anytime law enforcement saves children. Within 72 hours, federal agents arrested 4 wanted child sex offenders at the busiest port of entry in Texas and the country. U.S. Custom and Border Patrol Laredo field office agents working at Laredo Port of Entry arrested 4 men who were wanted on outstanding warrants for child sex offenses. 3 arrests were U.S. citizens. Over the Columbus Day holiday weekend, our frontline CBP officers at Laredo Field Office Port of Entry maintained their vigilance and apprehended 4 men wanted on outstanding warrants for alleged sex-related charges involving children. Let me give you a little background, not on this particular case, but when my husband has had to work on cases like this, let me tell you, those law enforcement officers, for the most part, go sleepless. They might go home, get a little bit of a rest, and then they're back at it again because they don't, and sometimes they don't even do that. There's been times my husband hasn't come home because he's on a hot pursuit trying to go after someone, and it'll be 2 or 3 days before he'll sleep. So I love it when these officers do everything they can to rescue these kids. So sex-related offenses involving children are among the most heinous offenses we encounter. We work diligently to ensure that individuals accused of these crimes are held accountable and have their day in court. The first arrest was made on October 11th by CBP officers working at the Gateway International Bridge in Brownsville. The bridge connects traffic and trade from the southernmost part of the Rio Grande Valley to Matamoros, Mexico. During a vehicle stop, they apprehended 65-year-old Mexican citizen Gilberto Fernandez Vega, who was wanted on an outstanding felony warrant issued by Cameron County Sheriff's Office for indecency with child by sexual contact. He was transported to Cameron County Jail. October 12th, CBP officers made 2 separate arrests at the Juarez Lincoln International Bridge, which connects traffic and trade from Laredo to Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. Mexico. Both arrests were male U.S. citizens with outstanding warrants issued by Laredo Police Department. So CBP officers arrested Gutierrez, 57, who was wanted on an outstanding felony warrant for indecency with a child. They also arrested Hernandez, 32, who was wanted for an outstanding felony warrant for indecency with a child by sexual contact. Both men were turned over to Laredo police. The article goes on, but I have so much to get through during this hour. And here again, I'm applauding this. I know the media is going to spin it that this is a horrible thing, a violation and unconstitutional, but I want my fellow American citizens to feel safe in their community like I do here. Our law enforcement officers are making my city safe. Our local government wants our city to be safe. My mayor is a decent mayor for the most part. You know, we might disagree on a few things, but he wants my city to be safe. And I appreciate that about my mayor. So Trump floats deploying National Guard troops. This is from Just the News. Federal agents to San Francisco. I have a video. Is that the next thing I'm going to share with you? Hold on. I don't. That's not the next thing, but I might speed it up and play that for you next. Just a second. I have so much content. Okay. I'm going to play this for you next because we've talked a little bit about California. Okay, so I like this. I want America to be safe again. I want my fellow citizens to be safe again. I want my neighbors next to me to be safe again. I had friends that lived in the Bay Area forever. They couldn't take it anymore. They had to move here to Phoenix. President Donald Trump on Wednesday appeared to identify his next target in his nationwide crime crackdown and immigration enforcement operations, suggesting he could send National Guard troops and federal agents to San Francisco. Pause for a second. We're under a government shutdown. And I think but I can't say for sure. Maybe you guys in the chat know better than me. You guys are the smartest chat on Rumble. I don't know if National Guard troops are considered to be paid by the Department of War. Military, I mean, they're part of our military, but they're National Guard, so I think they're more in the state realm. So I don't know how this works, but hopefully they're getting paid. There are Border Patrol guys. I don't know if they're getting paid right now. That article I just showed you was our Border Patrol. And I don't know if they're getting paid right now. And they did all this really hard work to go and arrest perverts that wanted to harm children. And so we have a lot of federal law enforcement officers right now that are not getting paid. So let's keep that in mind as we're listening to these stories. So Trump has engaged in a wide-reaching crime crackdown in multiple major cities over the past few months. He has sent National Guard troops to Washington, D.C., Memphis, Chicago, Portland, Los Angeles. He previously floated sending troops to New Orleans because it's high violent crime rate. And the request of Louisiana Republican Governor Jeff Landry. Thank you, Jeff Landry, for wanting to have your state to be safe and secure for its residents. I applaud you. We have great support in San Francisco. Trump told FBI Director Kash Patel in a joint press briefing. So I would like to recommend that for inclusion, maybe in your next group, the president claimed that San Francisco was a great city over a decade ago, but it's now a mess. And I'm going to be strongly recommending at the request of government officials, which is always nice, that you start looking at San Francisco, he said. I think we can make San Francisco one of our greatest cities 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now it's absolutely a mess. And I have someone who just recently visited California. I have a clip from there. And I just want to welcome this someone new to the chat, Lions 54, Lion TS 54. Sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Thank you for bringing here. I appreciate you guys for being here. And JR Disciples new. Thank you for joining us, Disciple. Appreciate you guys. Remember, give me a like, share, a subscribe, and maybe a repost if you like the show. So let me play for you this clip of a woman who used to live in California, no longer lives in California, but had to recently visit the Los Angeles area. I believe that's where she was visiting. Here we go.
Sorry. No, really, I'm sorry. Because what in the hellscape zombie apocalypse did I just experience? Let me tell you about my last 24 hours in LA. And mind you, I lived in LA from 2008 to 2012. And since then, I only pop in for a day if I have an event that I have to do, like plane, Uber, food delivery, event, Uber, plane, gone. This time, I took it upon myself to drive. First, as I'm driving through LA, I'm thinking like, why are so many people wearing masks here? Is there like a new disease out or something? And then I saw and felt like the dirty smog hanging over the city as I drove, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. The air is bad. Then, after parking at my hotel and deciding to go for a walk on the street to find food instead of ordering delivery, I was real brave today, I realized, oh, it's because the street smells like piss. I may also have to get a mask for my time here. Now, on my short 5-block walk from my bougie Bonifant hotel, I was involuntarily transported into a horror movie video game. I mean, I was like dodging zombies and possessed human bodies like left and right, while keeping my guard at 100 and my face at stone cold serial killer. Like, it was angry face, just so that they wouldn't detect the fear that was surging through my veins. I get to Sugarfish, great sushi spot. Dined alone, but I made small talk with a local gentleman who directed me back a safer route to avoid the dreaded Flower Street bus stop-off area. Now, I got to my hotel safe after still dodging some severely troubled individuals. Next day, got in my car to drive to the event, thankful to be almost done with the city. But on the way, you would think that I was in a third world country. I'm not even exaggerating. Tents were lining the streets everywhere. People were making these like unpredictable jerking motions or just laying unconsciously like along the road. So mixed with seemingly dead bodies though, there were robots, like robot delivery pods and driverless cars. The staggering dichotomy between manic soulless NPCs and what looked like corpses interspersed with futuristic robot looking things was just unlike anything I've ever experienced. Like the math was just not mathing. Now, as I finally made it to my event, I was thankful to be alive. I finished my day and had to continue my drive from LA down to San Diego. Thinking the nightmare was behind me, I let my guard down and I took a breath. And when I was in traffic on the highway, I grabbed my phone because it beeped and said there's an alternate route. So I took the phone to change it, Reminder, I have an old Jeep, all right? I don't know how to work the giant screens connected to the cars and all that kind of stuff. So I picked up my phone to just do the thing where you accept the new course. Big mistake. Yeah. That's when a cop saw me. I thought he was signaling for someone else to pull over. Nay, no. It was me. I am the criminal. I pulled over, respectful AF, hands on the wheel till he tells me for ID. I tell him it's in my purse, can I look in it? He says yes, move my hands to give him that. He asks for the registration. I tell him it's in my glove compartment, may I open it? He says yes. See, I know these rules. My family taught me about this when I was young, okay? Now he tells me why he pulled me over. I tell him, hey, I'm only in town for 24 hours. I'm from Florida. I'm trying to just switch my GPS because it said something about switching to an alternate route with the traffic. He didn't care. I got the citation. I'm thinking, sir, your city is burning. Your people voted for defunding you while also actively rooting for cops to die. I just passed the streets of 1,000 corpses like 10 minutes before you pulled me over. You got way bigger problems in LA than a Florida girl picking up her phone to switch her GPS to figure out where she's going. This city is so backwards. I could have just stayed back with the fine people lining those streets and just shot up some drugs. And you know, the cop that just gave me that ticket would have handed me a clean needle instead. What? So anyway, I didn't tell him any of those things. I just said, sir, you've made me very sad today. Then I took my citation and I drove to San Diego. That's all of it. I am still currently processing what exactly I just experienced. So if you live in LA, I'm sorry, stay safe. And may God be with you.
And this is why I am so happy that there is a legitimate war on drugs, because look at all those people she just described that are on drugs. Our Phoenix mayor is not really that great. Our Peoria mayor, he's fantastic. I don't see the homeless, druggy out people in the city of Peoria. I think they're on top of it. But in the city of Phoenix, oh man, there's right in my mom's neighborhood. I'm always scared to drive home from her neighborhood because I'm always terrified that one of these people that are so high and don't know what they're doing are going to walk right in front of me as I'm driving on the road. So far, that hasn't happened, but it's my biggest fear. And that's why I'm really happy that Donald Trump is legitimately doing a war on drugs. But the media wants to tell you that he hates you and he's a Nazi fascist dictator, when all I see is him trying to make the city safe again for the residents of the United States of America. And Pam Bondi said on X, as President Trump secures peace in the Middle East, Democrats continue to keep the government shut down while law enforcement partners remain hard at work. In Washington, D.C., a total of 4,358 arrests have been made and 413 illegal guns seized. In Memphis, 854 arrests and 180 illegal guns seized. We especially thank the dedicated men and women of federal law enforcement for working without pay to make America safe again. So I guess that answers some of my questions about them working without pay. Now, I know a lot of people are very concerned about this. I'm going to play it and then I'm going to talk about it and I will tell you the reality of the situation.
5 to 10 grand for kidnapping of ICE agents or Customs and Border Patrol agents, non-lethal assault, $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. Whew. Here's Greg Bavino. He works in Chicago. Says he had a bounty on his head. Watch.
We've got $50,000 bounties on the heads of federal law enforcement officers. We have criminals ramming vehicles. Criminals bringing guns to protests. This is not regular street crime here in Chicago. We have assaults on Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, and our allied law enforcement agencies every day, often multiple times per day. And again, these assaults, the lethality of these assaults is increasing.
How can your officers respond to that effectively?
Well, there's power in numbers, there's safety in numbers. Secretary Noem, ever since that terror attack we saw in Dallas, she's been hardening our ICE facilities. President Trump has called in the National Guard, a very prescient and great, strong leadership we've seen from the President of the United States. But, I mean, we are seeing a coordinated, highly organized waging of war on our law enforcement on the streets of Chicago. These men and women are simply enforcing the rule of law and doing their job, and yet there's these foreign terrorist networks who are going after them. They're using a tiered system of bounties to go after them, whether it be doxing their family members, kidnapping, even murdering these brave men and women.
Let me tell you, the bounty on law enforcement officers' head is nothing new. All cops, especially here in Arizona, know you make sure nobody knows you're a law enforcement officer in Mexico because of that exact thing. Because if they find out you're in law enforcement, there is a bounty for every law enforcement officer that they can kill and murder. I'm just glad it's finally making it out to the public where they finally know that it exists, but it's been there forever. So this is not new that the cartel is trying to assassinate law enforcement officers, not new at all. In fact, my heart goes out to all the wives of all those law enforcement officers and the children, because for the first time ever, I am so terrified of those ICE officers losing their life and not coming home to their children and their wives. I mean, I know what it's like every day when I have to let my husband go out. I mean, when the George Floyd riot took out, I was so terrified. I was crying. My kids were a lot younger then, and I was crying. I just had to go to a friend's house, and I couldn't be alone. I was so terrified. And so the Daily Signal has a report out that I wanted to share with you about ICE agents continuing to risk their lives despite working without pay amid shutdown. The media is going to tell you that these guys are heinous and they're just getting anyone off the street, just snatching up people. That's not true. They know exactly who they're going after. And unfortunately, there's those apps that have been out there with iOS and Android that have been telling people where these people that they've just like riled up. I mean, they've riled up so many people and so angered so many people that all these ICE officers are doing are trying to get these really bad people out of our country. I don't want cartel members taking over the nation like they did to Mexico and South America. You don't think they're coming here to take over the United States of America, the most wealthiest country in the whole world? You're out of your freaking mind if you don't believe that's happening. And the globalists are helping it along. So, first, on the Daily Signal, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents continue to risk their lives arresting criminal illegal aliens while not being paid during the federal government shutdown, according to the Department of Homeland Security. ICE agents continue to arrest pedophiles, murderers, drug traffickers, and other violent thugs from American communities. Not only are these law enforcement officers risking their lives amid 1,000% increase in assault against them. These are not protests. These people are rioter thugs that are causing criminality. They're not protesters. When you protest, the only way you can protest legally is to be peaceful about it and not break law. These people are assaulting and bringing weapons to go after these law enforcement officers, these ICE agents. So I'm very happy that we have a president that wants to protect the ICE agents by deploying the National Guard as their backup. Did you see how outnumbered on every video that you see where the ICE agents are arresting illegals? Do you see how much they're outnumbered? It is super scary for them. So the government has been in shutdown for more than 2 weeks as Senate Democrats continue to vote against the stopgap bill to fund the government into next month. Most government employees who are deemed essential will continue to work during a government shutdown and are not paid, but will receive back pay when the government reopens. It's time for the Democrats to end the government shutdown on our ICE officers and get their paychecks as they work to make America safe again. I have to go through this quickly because I'm running out of time. This is from offthepress.com. Border Patrol to be paid despite Democrat shutdown, an unprecedented move. So I'm glad. Okay, that answers my other question. Is Border Patrol being paid? I am very happy to say that Border Patrol agents working during the shutdown will get a paycheck. Agency sources told Daily Wire in a message from National Border Patrol Council, the agency's union. Some agents were informed this week that their payday is coming. This is unprecedented and is due to the hard work of all federal law enforcement officers and continued support of President Trump and his administration. Agents will also be given back pay for their time they worked since the shutdown began, according to the message. They also may receive accelerated pay for their next paycheck. The government shutdown entered its 16th day on Thursday. Another vote to reopen the government is scheduled, but is expected to fail again. Democrats in Congress are seeking to negotiate on health care, while Republicans are demanding that the government be reopened before any further talks can proceed. Just like Fetterman said, hey, let's talk about the healthcare, but let's reopen the government and have the discussion. You know, Donald Trump, the fascist dictator that he is, has tried to feed the women, infant, and children and provide income for that part of government to be flowing so that the women, infant, and children can get the nutritional supplements that they require. He's done what he can to pay the troops, our military, and now he's trying to pay our Border Patrol. They're very important to our country's national security, our Border Patrol. And those Border Patrol agents just arrested 4 sex offenders who harmed children. So don't tell me we shouldn't be paying them because they just protected children from sex offenders. Nothing gets me more fired up than that. Don't you dare touch a child. The Daily Caller is saying, don't ask, don't tell. Ohio schools caught saying they'd conceal trans students' sex. Complaint alleges. What? The administration would employ at 2 Ohio school districts. Remember, this is a red state. Crazy. But the schools are controlled by a lot of Democrats, people who think on the left, like extreme. Administrators employed at 2 Ohio school districts telling undercover journalists that the schools would allow a male student to access female sports and facilities and help hide his true identity as parents request, according to recently filed complaints. Protect the Public Trust filed federal Title IX complaints after hidden camera videos released by Accuracy in Media showed school officials from Springfield City School District and Norwood City School District making the admission. The complaints were filed in the Department of Ed, Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services on Wednesday, and were obtained exclusively by the Daily Caller News Foundation, and it's blacked out, so I don't have the video. I have this video. Let me show you this video. Here we go.
So I could just sign her up as, I mean, she's being in the list, you know. In my opinion, for only as a female, she is less effective.
In 2024, Ohio passed a law barring males from competing in girls' sports. An Accuracy in Media journalist went undercover in several Ohio school districts to determine whether educators were following the law.
I know when we have name changes, we get like a court copy saying like this person's name was changed from such and such to.
Kelly Cormish is the secretary at EMIS.
You enroll with how, because I mean, strictly it's because it was never allowed that way. So it's. I'm pretty sure it's going to your guys' discretion if you guys can. Like, I mean, we will, because all the paperwork. Yeah. So, we don't know. But whether our kid is not like, it's not something you guys can. I'm sure I just. In my opinion, if you do discrimination, I wouldn't. Like I said, it's to your guys' discretion. So I could just sign her up as, I mean, she's the only one.
So at NCSD, Secretary Kelly was also caught in a separate video advising the undercover investigators not to reveal the hypothetical transgender child's biological sex. You know, there's a weird kind of culture where it's almost like a don't ask, don't tell, Cornelius said in a video, adding that the most teachers would respect students' false gender identities. It's not really so many eyes watching, but Norwood is pretty accepting. Cornelius said that since the male student is female on the birth certificate, he would be able to use the girls' restroom and locker. Neither school district responded for requests. Forcing girls to view male genitalia to be viewed by a male is sexually harassing, and the complaint reads, calling on the agencies to investigate the districts, even if undressing does not occur, placing girls in vulnerable and private positions where even partial undress occurs with biological male can lead to fear and discomfort for girls, which is also sexually harassing. This is especially problematic if the harassment leads to lost athletic opportunity or fear to participation due to feeling unsafe on the playing field or in the locker room. PPT described the schools as demonstrating deliberate indifference or harassment at the very least. This continued disgrace for a state law, Title IX, multiple schools in Ohio just goes to show how pervasive this destruction ideology extends to the education world. The article goes on, but I am short on time. So this man goes off on a Maine school board after they tried interjecting as parents. So they began undressing in front of them in protest of trans athlete policies. Point of order, we've asked. That's what the board says. So check out this video.
Point of order. We've asked that we use. Oh, so wait. They're covered. You feel uncomfortable? Because that's what these young girls feel like when a boy walks into the locker room and starts unchanging in front of them. Yeah, you feel uncomfortable, right? Feel uncomfortable, huh? That's what these young girls feel like every time a young boy changes in front of them. You can look at me like that all you want. That's exactly how they feel. And you, Miss Muffy, oh, well, I don't know if I stand with girls or if I stand with my, with the. So you don't care how young girls feel? You don't care about the safety of young kids? What about what happened in Virginia with that boy that raped a young girl in a bathroom, then got sent to another school and did it again? What are we going to do when that happens here? How are you going to look that girl in the face and say, sorry, I didn't protect you? This is Maine's capital. We should be setting an example for the rest of the state. You know what example you guys are setting? That we do not care about the young girls in this state. You guys care about politics. Oh, we can't change it because it's not law. It got changed by an executive order by Biden, which is why we're here in the first place.
They say we're fascist dictators, but we just want to protect the security of girls. And I think I maybe misspoke. I thought I said Maine. I don't know if I misspoke or not, but I thought I said Maine. So McMahon argues shutdown proves education department is unnecessary. This is from Off the Press. Education Secretary Linda McMahon on Wednesday sought to use the government shutdown as leverage in Trump administration's battle to dismantle her department. President Donald Trump and McMahon have been working together since March to gut the education department while acknowledging it would take congressional action to eliminate it altogether. They believe education would be better handled by state and local leaders who are closer to students and families, contending that the federal government has systematically failed in its stated mission to fuel educational excellence in the United States. This week, McMahon used the government shutdown to further perpetuate such arguments. Well, the education department has now been shuttered for more than 2 weeks due to the government shutdown. Millions of American students are still going to school. Teachers are still getting paid. Schools are operating as normal, she said. It confirms what the president has said, that the federal Department of Education is unnecessary and we should return education to the states. The Democrat government shutdown has forced agencies to evaluate what federal responsibilities are truly critical for the American people, she added. And I couldn't agree with her more. So we could get by with Treasury, Defense, Border Patrol, ICE, and a few other programs. Do we really need big government? Well, let's find out what our speaker says.
Together and build that consensus is not possible until we get the government operating again and we stop holding. I get very upset about that. We stop holding the American people hostage for these ridiculous political games. People see what's going on here. We should not have Border Patrol agents not paid right now because Chuck Schumer wants to pay political games to cover his tail. I don't know how much more simply to say that, and every single one of you know that's exactly what's going on. I don't like being mad, Mike. I want to be happy, Mike. I want to be the happy warrior, but I am so upset about this. God bless America. We're done. Thanks.
God bless America. What's really cool is my name is in one of the national anthems. Let's see. So breaking, effective immediately. I don't know how breaking this is because it's on X. Effective immediately at the direction of Governor Pritzker by way of Cook County Chief Judge Timothy Evans, ICE and Border Patrol agents are barred from making civil arrests of illegal aliens at Chicago courts. I'm going to talk about this in a second after I play this little video from the news.
Cook County Circuit Chief Judge Timothy Evans is barring civil arrests of people when they are at county courts. Evans said in a statement, quote, access to justice depends on every individual's ability to appear in court without fear or obstruction. Our courthouses remain places where all people, regardless of their background or circumstance, should be able to safely and confidently participate in the judicial process. Cook County
Okay, let me
Circuit
tell
Chief
you about
Judge-
this. When a law enforcement officer arrests you, you are still going to be in front of a judge. You have to be in front of a judge in the first 24 hours of arrest. And then after that, they figure out, the court and the lawyers figure out when the next trial is going to be. If you can get bail, if you can't get bail. And one thing that law enforcement officers such as ICE or any law enforcement in general, they rather place you under arrest, especially if they're going to extradite you somewhere else, in a courthouse or in a jail facility. Because what we've been seeing on the streets is they are being barred and stopped from doing it in a jail or in a courthouse setting. And then they get attacked on the street when they go and find the person on the street and try and arrest the person that they were going after in the beginning. Now, if these judges and if these cities and then these mayors would cooperate with federal ICE agents, then a lot of this chaos that we see on the streets wouldn't exist. But they don't want to do that. They rather have the chaos and have the talking points and rile up people and get them so angry and destroy the city and harm the ICE officers who are arresting cartel members and rapists. That's what they rather have. You know, Florida sues California. Did you know that? Florida sues California. This is off the press is reporting this. Florida Attorney General James Othmeyer announced a lawsuit against the state of California as Governor Gavin Newsom in the U.S. Supreme Court over California's sanctuary policies on immigration. And the lawsuit follows the arrest of Singh, an undocumented migrant. Why are we calling him a migrant? An illegal alien for a deadly crash on the Florida Turnpike in St. Lucie County that resulted in the deaths of 3 people. Singh received his driver's license in California, and investigators say he made an illegal U-turn. They are culpable. They care more about their love affair with illegals than protecting American citizens, American victims that suffer every day. The crash involving Singh has intensified the debate over sanctuary policies, and critics arguing that such policies enable illegal aliens to evade federal immigration laws, and the outcome of this lawsuit could have significant implications for state-level immigration policies at their ailment with federal law. I'm not going to talk about that story, but I will play this. We need something good to talk about, as I've been talking about so many heavy things. We're going to play this, something good.
Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer. The past is gone. My life's in books, written pages. Live and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream the devil dream come true. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream until your dream come true. Dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream Sing with us, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with us, just for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away. Sing with us, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with us, just for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away.
As long as the American people hold in their hearts deep and devoted love of country, then there is nothing that this nation cannot achieve. The best is yet to come.
I love this president. He cares about the people. He cares about the people in California to be safe. He cares about the people in Chicago to be safe. When we went to Tennessee, my husband would not let us go to Memphis. He said it's not safe in Memphis. I have family members in Chicago. They moved from here to Chicago. And I'm glad President Trump's making Chicago safe for my family members. And maybe sometime when we go back to Tennessee, maybe we could go and see Graceland, because Donald Trump's making Memphis safe again. Thank you, Mr. President, for caring about us so much that you're willing to make war against the drug cartels to free the people in my city, in my neighboring state in LA, and across the country, and freeing them from the drugs that take away their life, that takes their soul, that kills them, where parents' hearts are broken. Thank you, Donald Trump, for getting rid of the cartel so we don't become narco politicians here in the United States, where you're going after the rapists of children and throwing them in prison because they've harmed the innocent. Thank you, Mr. President, for caring about this nation. And the media will twist every word and say he's a Nazi fascist dictator that wants to take all your rights away. If he was, the No Kings protest wouldn't even be able to happen because all of those people would be arrested and thrown in jail. But it's still going to happen this weekend, even though we don't have a king here. If we had a king, the courts wouldn't be able to stop him because he's king, he's monarch. But the Democrat judges continue to try and stop all of the things that he's doing to protect this nation. So let's talk about media manipulation. I'm pretty sure my friend Clay Clark made this video. I know Clay Clark's style, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who did it, but a man named Camius on X posted it. And so we're going to talk about the World Economic Forum advisor, Yuval Noah Harari, explained the globalist blueprint. I want you to listen carefully. Corroborations require a story, and it doesn't need to be true. You say a lie so many times, people start believing the lie. Listen to how the globalists use the media to spin lies so that people think that Donald Trump is a fascist Nazi dictator and that you and I, because we want to make America great again, we're along the same lines, even though we do not want to take anybody's rights away. We just want to have faith, have family, have freedom, and enjoy our life. That's what we want. So let's go through this. It might go a little bit long, people. It might be a little bit longer, I hope you'll stick with me because I really want to hammer this home. We're going to go in the Nun Report, and I'll try not to go too long, but I just really want to drive the media manipulation from the globalists to the 6 companies that control all the media that we see, including big tech. Here we go.
To collaborate on a large scale, you need to convince everybody to believe in the same story. What really the engine of history is stories. And they don't even need to be true. Some of the most powerful stories in history were fictions.
Right.
But you need to get everybody, or at least a significant part of the population, to believe in the same story. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Science is not really, at least this is my view as a historian, science is not really about truth. It's about power. The real aim of science as a project, as an establishment, is not truth, it's power. Particular individuals, particular scientists may be very interested in the truth, personally. But as an institution, the real aim of science is power. Those who own the data really own the future. We are reaching a point in human history that we have enough biological knowledge and we have enough computing power, and all you need in order to systematically hack millions of people is just the data. That to hack people means to know people better than they know themselves. To somebody in San Francisco, in Beijing, knows you, knows more about you than you know about yourself.
Okay, I have to pause it right here. I'm going to be showing you a video clip that I did on my show during election time because they know you better than you know yourself. I'm going to just rewind that. I really want you to drive that point home. Because what they do is they take your hand and they guide you from what step by step by step they put everything in front of you that they want you to see. And they do that through the media. They do that through your phone because Google listens to you. I mean, gosh, you say, I'm going to go search for bras. And next thing you know, Victoria's Secret pops up on your phone. Or I need a refrigerator. Next thing you know, Whirlpool pops up on your phone. You know that happens. But the algorithms too, with the social media, they make sure that they have showed you all of the bad articles written about Donald Trump and only highlights, for instance, let's say Kamala Harris, right? They'll only give you the good articles from Kamala Harris. They'll never show Kamala Harris in a bad light. And that's how they're doing it. And I have a video that kind of talks about that. So I want you to really pay. This is a man from the World Economic Forum, an advisor to Klaus Schwab, one of those people, one of the globalists that wants to control the whole world. Why do you think I always play Pinky in the Brain in the beginning of my show? It's reality. They want to control the world. This is not hyperbole. This is just not some joke. This is reality. They want you to be super poor, depending on them for everything in your life while they suck the blood out of you. They take all your money and they become mega rich. Their life, it's going to be like the Cuban dictators. I played that video before about one of Fidel Castro's relatives who's living life high on the hog, super rich, super wealthy, has all the food he wants. Well, the people of Cuba are suffering. What was it? What was the average income? Like $17 a month, the average income? Something like that, something crazy. I'm going to rewind this. Pay attention to what he is saying. Okay, here we go.
Logical knowledge, and we have enough computing power. And all you need in order to systematically hack millions of people is just the data. That to hack people means to know people better than they know themselves. To somebody in San Francisco, in Beijing, knows you, knows more about you than you know about yourself, about your medical condition, about your mental weaknesses, things that you did 5 years ago, 20 years ago, you completely forgot about them, they know it.
Right.
This is something we never faced before. Not even the KGB could do it.
Right.
And we are already beginning to see the emergence of such total surveillance regimes in places like Xinjiang, in places like in my own home country in Israel. We have this big laboratory of surveillance called the Occupied Territories, where you have 2.5 million guinea pigs of how to completely survey and control a population with very few soldiers. I mean, when you look at the numbers, it's amazing how few soldiers you need to control millions of people if you have their data.
See? They've been controlling people for a long time here in the United States. That's why we have a No Kings protest going to happen on the weekend. That's why all these people come out. Well, they're also getting paid too. So let's not forget that. And this is how it's going to turn out. This man that I'm going to play, a lot of cuss words, guys. Lots. So I'm sorry about that. A lot of cuss words. But I want you to see now how this man has been manipulated into thinking ICE is a horrible organization. When I showed you already articles that talked about how they're going after the cartel members, they're taking rapists off the streets. Border Patrol is helping save children from sex offenders. I've been showing you a long line of articles about how these federal law enforcement officers are protecting you and I. But this guy has been mind manipulated. And that's why I want to play Yuval Harari, because he only needs a few people, right, to control the masses. Only a few. So this man has bought into everything that has been on his phone strategically. And then I have a clip after that to show you one of the companies that are out there. And they also go target people for political candidates that are running for office that more align with the globalists. So pay attention to how angry this guy is, because every news article he reads is anti-Trump. Every article he sees on social media is that Border Patrol is horrible. ICE agents are terrible. And look how angry he got over it, because he's been manipulated into believing lies. You say a lie long enough, it becomes truth.
Oh, he's crashing out. You want to crash out? Fine. I'll fucking give you one. If we don't wake the fuck up soon, and I mean quick, fast, and in a fucking hurry, we are fucked like a football bat. We got the Department of Homeland fucking Security out here sharing hype videos of ICE agents flying in on American cities, banging indoors, jacking people out of their houses, zip tying them in the streets naked, and then carting them off in the back of U-Hauls with no warrants or due process like it's a fucking trailer to the newest Call of Duty game. And the worst part is, I gotta watch some of y'all cheer it on like you're watching a fucking football game. And then the cherry on top of it all, I gotta sit here and listen to y'all call yourselves Christians? Bullshit. You don't get to call yourself a Christian and then advocate and fucking laugh when families are torn apart outside of courthouses of people trying to come here the right ways. You don't get to call yourself a Christian and then think it's okay that the highest court in the fucking land just gave a green light to ICE agents to be able to fucking target people because they are brown or speaking Spanish. It makes me sick to my fucking stomach that I gotta be lumped in with you when people think of Christians in this country. It makes me feel physically fucking ill to know that when people think of the loving Christ that I know that gave his life for us, they will think of you instead. You are not Christian. You use Christianity as a shield to hide behind when you need to justify the hate that you have scolded into this world. People tell me all the time, why don't you just shut the fuck up and sing, man? Keep politics out of it. Don't you think I would love to? Don't you think I want to just come on the internet and show you my love songs or my breakup songs that I've been writing? But you got the same phone I got, dog. You're telling me you don't see this shit? When you're laying in bed at night and you're scrolling on your...
Did you see that? You have the same phone? You have the same phone as me? Listen to what he's saying, and then you're going to see the next video and how it all makes sense. They manipulate everything you see on TV, all the media, all the movies. There was a movie out right now that was all about anti-ICE. I had a clip, but I didn't bring it up. The guy walked out because it was total propaganda of anti-ICE. Look how this guy is so crazy upset by the manipulation he's experienced, and he doesn't even know he's been manipulated.
Phone, you see the same videos that I see. Do you not think to yourself, damn, there's got to be a better way that we can fucking do this? Have we really become this numb to treating human fucking beings like this? I started writing songs about this shit because I'm not oblivious to the platform that I have, and I recognize that my voice could go further than most. I also believe that music...
And they did it. They used him because he's an entertainment to convince more and more people. Look how many singers get on stage and talk shit about ICE agents, about Donald Trump and how horrible of a fascist dictator he is, when I just told you that the courthouses are barring the federal agents for arresting them in a courthouse or in a jail facility where they much rather do that in a controlled environment. Instead, they make sure that they're not allowed to do that. So then people see it on the street. Then you have the apps to tell everybody to get them all riled up, just like this man, to go and attack those ICE agents for arresting the illegal that they were trying to get all along. And then they use gentlemen like him who are in the entertainment space to manipulate all the people that like his music.
Music is one of the most powerful tools that we will ever have. I knew being a country artist, I was going to get some backlash for the things that I was about to say. And I knew that I was risking my career because of it, because I'm a small artist who didn't have a big fan base to fall back on already. But I said the shit anyways with my whole fucking chest. Because if you think that I'm going to sit back and watch the America that I love to my fucking core be beaten to its fucking knees without saying a word, then you got me fucked up. And the only regret that I have is not saying something sooner. I would rather my label call me the fuck up and drop me right after posting this video and have no career at all than live in a world where what is happening right now is happening and I don't say a fucking thing like most of these artists do. So if you gotta leave, I get it. But either way, I want it to be crystal fucking clear what side of history I'm on. Oh, and by the way, this shit drops at fucking midnight.
I'm not going to play his song. I'm not going to play his song on my show. I will say this. I kind of have pity for the man. Clearly, he does care, and he cares about people's rights not being violated. So they manipulate someone who cares about people's rights and not to be manipulated. And then they twist everything. They twist everything, and they twist everything to where now he's so upset about an illegal getting arrested who is probably part of one of the cartels, Sinaloa cartel, MS-13, who knows, you name it. The rapists that were off the street now because of our Border Patrol agents that aren't getting paid. Now watch this clip. Watch this clip. Watch this company that kind of explains how they go on and manipulate minds, just like that man that we just saw. It's pretty sad. Right now, let me show you this while we're talking about elections and election interference.
Essentially, the pitch was that we were going to combine micro-targeting, which had existed in politics, which was, in part my background, but bring on boards
let me pause
a
this.
new.
What this is this was a Zoom call with the the Harris-Walz campaign.
Right.
And it got leaked somewhere, and now we're seeing what their Zoom call was all about.
And Cambridge Analytica are involved again.
What?
And Cambridge Analytica are involved again.
Oh, I don't know anything about them. This is the first time I heard.
Let me
So you
bring
can
you
share
up to
that
date
with
afterwards.
me.
Yeah.
A new constructs from psychology, so that we wouldn't just be targeting you as a voter, we'd be targeting you as a personality.
We targeted folks based on online behavioral cues, building out personas.
Targeting you as a personality.
Personas based on the type of content they were consuming, what they were searching, the kinds of websites they were visiting.
We could build a psychological profile of each voter in a particular region.
We built out different personas for the different parts of our key audiences, both persuadable and our supporters, and then targeted them with custom campaigns.
So you've harvested my data, and then you've used that to target me in ways that I can't see and that I don't understand.
Yeah, so we would know what kinds of messaging you would be susceptible to, including the framing of it, the topics, the contents, the tone, whether it's scary or not, that kind of thing. So what you would be susceptible to and where you're going to consume that. And then how many times do we need to touch you with that in order to change how you think about something?
Oh man, that is so true, because there's several threads on this this post on X, and Matt Orfalia is the one who's posted it, and there's about 8 or 9 videos, and it says the Biden-Harris team micro-targeted voters exposed to the disinformation, aka reality, of Biden's mental decline. They use psychographic targeting, a tactic that Cambridge Analytica was highly scrutinized for after the 2016 election, and they did this also in 2020. So I really don't know anything about Cambridge Analytica, so I'd love to learn more.
So Cambridge Analytica have been involving themselves in elections. Now let's go right back to Brexit in the UK. The Brexit vote and the way that they were used in that was the first time I heard about them And what they were doing was to look for the people, and exactly how they were describing that then. So they were looking for people who were from, they first of all did the demographic of the person, which was to find people who were very upset with the way they were living because of poverty and because of low wages and one thing and another. They then target those people through things like Facebook, and they start to target them. And this is what we learned about them. They were targeting them with, it was around Christmas time when Brexit and everything was going on, and they were targeting people with a free turkey ad, believe it or not, right? Oh. Because they knew that the people were in these areas who would be susceptible to go, yeah, that we need that, yeah. So they were clicking on stuff like that. So it was kind of free stuff around the Christmas time that was going to help people improve their Christmas on a low wage, let's say. And then where that went, then they started to remarket then to them. So they knew that people who were of an affluent kind of a position wouldn't be clicking on those types of ads. So the affluent people never ever saw the remarketing that then continued to go on afterwards, which was then to start to brainwash these people that it was Europe's fault that they were in the position they were in. And they were starting to remarket to these people because they'd clicked, so they'd allowed them to go on. They'd entered the competitions, and then they were getting the remarketing through banners and push notifications, and they were remarketing to these people. And these were people that wouldn't normally go out and vote for anything. So when we got the vote through for Brexit, we could see that there'd been a large number of people that had come from nowhere that would never expected to vote. And these people had been brainwashed by Cambridge Analytica with the way that they cleverly use remarketing tactics. First of all, they pull you in, they hook their demographic of the person they're looking for, they hook them into that, they remarket to that through permission-based software, and they start to change the way that they think, which then pushes people back out to go, do you know what? I'm going to go and vote for this because I've learned all this information from these things that I've been seeing online. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to vote in that favor.
Okay, let me show you some more stuff. Okay. This is just a little bit of funny joke, but it's true. A little bit of funny, true. Citizens Free Press is saying, please stand by while we figure out how to blame Trump. It's pretty much true. Pretty much true. Okay. And then this, I want to show you how powerful YouTube was. They kicked me off their platform because I was talking about election interference here in Maricopa County. I was talking about the lies of COVID, and they kicked me off. They just reinstated me. They just reinstated me. So I pulled this article from the Hollywood Reporter because I wanted to show you how powerful YouTube is. And that's why the government colluded with YouTube, with Facebook, with Twitter, Cambridge Analytica. This has nothing to do with anything except to show you how powerful of a tool YouTube is to manipulate people. They were taking off every truther on their network to control the narrative so people couldn't see the truth, to keep them in the lie, like Noah Harari said. Keep telling the lie, keep telling the lie, keep telling the lie. That's why I played the Noah Harari thing. YouTube just ate TV. It's only getting started. For a moment, the 50-yard line at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California was the I'm sorry. I'm so worked up. I can't even read. I'm so worked up. I hate people getting manipulated so badly, and to the point where I feel like my safety is on the line if I wear anything that says I love Donald Trump or I want to make America great again. And I shouldn't feel like that in this country. I don't want the Democrat voting base to think I hate them and to think I want them dead and to think I want to take all their rights away, because that is not what I want for them. I want to live. I want to let them live, and I want to be all, not kumbaya, but I don't want to attack each other either. I'm tired of it. What the media capital of the world, as the San Francisco 49ers were warning about for September 21st, the game against the Arizona Cardinals, Commissioner Roger Goodell caught the eye. Okay, but an hour or so after the meeting on the field, the Mongols addressed creators and guests in a suite. We want to continue to double down on the partnership you saw, the YouTube chief said, referring to the first exclusive NFL game that YouTube hosted live on September 5th. More to come, right? Goodell quipped in response, well, that's up to you to decide. When we asked a few minutes later whether that means YouTube is the strong position to carry exclusive NFL games going forward, Goodell said unequivocally. So my point in that article is to show you how powerful YouTube has become. TV media is on the wayside. But here's even another powerful tool that Cambridge Analytica and other companies like that, as well as the government colluding with Facebook to keep me shadow banned. I'm still shadow banned there. Meta removes Facebook groups that shared information on ICE agents. This is only because Donald Trump had that meeting at the White House with people like with Zuckerberg and the other tech giants. That's the only reason. I don't know what he said in that meeting, but it's changed everything. You know, YouTube lost their lawsuit against Donald Trump. And that's why I'm allowed to come back to YouTube. It's the only reason. So Meta on Tuesday removed, I'm almost done, guys. I know we got to move on to Dan Nunn, but I'm glad you're sticking with me just for a few more minutes. Meta on Tuesday removed a Facebook group that was used to share information about immigration and custom enforcement agents in Chicago. Remember, the country singer said, you see what I see on your phone. I'm scrolling through. You heard Noah Harari. We have to lie to them. You heard Cambridge Analytica. They manipulate step by step by step by step by step. So that's why that country singer is so outraged. He's outraged in the wrong sense. If he can only be outraged against the manipulation he's been under with, they don't even know. Remember that lady in the Cambridge Analytica? So I'm not even going to know that you guys have manipulated me. Pretty much. So Meta on Tuesday removed a Facebook group that was used to share information about immigration and custom enforcement agents in Chicago after the Department of Justice requested it be taken down. Why did the Justice Department have to even request it? Meta, why did you even have it in the first place? You would shadow ban someone like me that was trying to say the COVID shot was going to harm you, but you're okay with harming the ICE agents, so you allow them on your platform. And Apple, you would take off conservative social media sites, but allow the doxing of ICE agent apps to be on your platform. Do you see how these people are not for us? They're not for us. So the Face group was removed by the company following outreach by the Department of Justice. Attorney Pam Bondi said in a social media post, the page was used to dox and target immigration agents in Chicago. That is just trying to make the citizens safe again in Chicago. If you live in Chicago, do you want to be safe again? Remember how many times I report on the murders that happened in Chicago on this show? And I constantly remind you that Chicago is the murder capital of the United States of America. But you wouldn't know that because the people that are behind the big tech, the globalists that want to lie to you and control your way of thinking, so that Donald Trump is such a hindrance to their global takeover because he's not in the club. He's a self-made man. He didn't steal from our money to make themselves rich, and he doesn't care about controlling the world. He just wants to keep America free. So Facebook group was removed by the company following the outreach, not before, not because they're trying to do good in the world, but only because the DOJ asked them to finally take it down because their agents, the husbands of those women, the fathers of those children's lives are in danger. These are ICE agents, are people. And the way they're manipulating the minds of people watching this garbage is dehumanizing them, that they're not human beings. But at the end of the day, when they take off that badge and they take off their holster, there's someone at home that loves them. A wife that is so happy that she finally gets to see her husband that's been on the brink of being murdered all day. And the kids who get to hug their dad. I take it serious because this could be my life. It is my life. Not on a federal level. But you don't think we have cartel here that my husband has to encounter? You don't think he has to go after sex offenders, going after the children? He was there at the George Floyd riot. Could the No Kings turn into that again and he be deployed? Could. I doubt it on this one, but it could. If they're successful at dehumanizing these officers, then it justifies the actions of murdering them. They've been doing that job very well with the collusion of the big tech, the media outlets, the globalists behind it manipulating everyone's mind. They have dehumanized the ICE agents. They have made the cartel members the victims. Oh, you poor cartel members. Oh, you poor cartel members. You're not going to get justice. Even though that the judge said that they are receiving justice, but it's barring the ICE agents from arresting them in the courthouse where it would be safe for everybody. They're getting their due process. So the Facebook group called ICE, citing Chicagoland and more than 80,000 members before it was removed. A Meta spokesperson said they confirmed it on Wednesday that the page has been taken down for violating our policy against coordinating harm without providing further detail. But you didn't have the moral ethical compass to take it down before Pam Bondi asked you. I'm done with that article. I'm done. I'm going to play one last video. Thank you for sticking around with me today. I appreciate you. We're going to go to Dan Nunn soon. I'm play one last video. Then I'm going to sign off, and I hope I get to see you. No, let me play 2 more videos. I don't want to leave you in a bad place. If you can give me 2 videos, then we can go to Dan Nunn. I hope I see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Rumble. Here we go. 2 last videos.
Millions of y'all protesting this Saturday? No Kings? Oh, please. Y'all acted like Fauci was Moses parting the 6 feet at Costco while you stood in line for toilet paper and your 4th booster shot, waiting for your next commandments from CNN. Wore the mask like a sacrament. You kneeled for BLM. You obey every rainbow rule that the leftist regime throws your way. But now you've got a problem with authority? Let's be real, you don't hate kings. You want them in fishnets breeding to toddlers. You're not anti-tyranny. You just want the right tyrants. The ones who bang your gas stove, censor your speech, and inject your kids with whatever Pfizer says is holy. Jay Jones texts about 2 bullets in the head. Kids dying. And you say nothing. Charlie Kirk is assassinated in broad daylight and y'all throw a party. We used to be shadow banned, but now we're being shot. I'm not scared of your Etsy signs and your TikTok rage. I'm scared of a world where speaking truth gets you a bullet. And you clap like seals when they drag patriots off in body bags. Keep your little sign. I'll keep my Bible, my backbone, and a screenshot of every threat you pretended wasn't real.
Okay. That kind of sums up the show. At least that segment of the show. Now, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of laughter. You guys know how much I love children. And children say the cutest things. And that's why I miss having a toddler around. That's why someday when I'm going to be a grandparent like May Renee, I'm going to really enjoy having that, going down memory lane again like my kids were little. And they'll say the cutest things, the funniest things, and can't help but laugh. So we're going to laugh before I send you over. So pissed off to Dan Nunn. So I hope you enjoy this video as much as I did. Oops, wait, I gotta rewind this. Hold on. Can I rewind it? Give me a second. Let me see. Please don't mess it up. Okay, good. Here we go.
Oh, do it, snowman. Like a snowman. What? Burger.
Just kidding.
No, it's not a burger. Don't call him. Come on. Can I bring him into your house?
No, you're gonna leave him in here.
No, you're gonna cook him. No. I can't go to bed. I'm scared.
What are you scared of?
Go back, please.
Turn about in school.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr. What'd he do?
He died for sins.
No, that was...
I want to be pregnant.
What's mommy's name?
Mommy.
What's daddy's name?
Cheese.
I can't say cheese or bacon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lettuce.
Lettuce. What'd you make?
See you next time on the back. See you next time. Daddy.
What is it?
Daddy. Did you understand me? That's not funny. Mom, that's not really funny. Mom, do you understand me?
Yes.
2, 3. Hey, that wasn't very nice. That wasn't very nice.
Well, she's right. It wasn't.
To you?
She was right. Those big sisters were mean.
Fuck off, you fat pig. Fuck off.
Excuse me?
Fuck off.
Excuse me?
Fuck off.
Who's on this candle?
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
She like noodles.
No, she don't.
Mom,
I want you to put that on the...
Every parent has experienced that. Everyone. Here, kiss my mommy.
Yes, I know it wasn't gonna be black. Fucking cold.
I'm sorry, but that's so funny. Little kids are so adorable, and that's why I'm passionate about adults protecting children. Hey, thank you guys so much again for hanging out with me. It's been a longer show than normal. I appreciate you coming here today. Each and every one of you, thank you so much. I hope I get to see each and every one of you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Rumble. And we're going to have a great show tomorrow. Well, we're going to see, we're going to go off to our friend, the Nun Report, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social, Amber May, Frank Socially, Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on The Amber May Show.